Welcome to Deception Stoppers, everybody. Welcome. This is me, Mark, with you all today. Today we're going to be talking about something briefly here, very simple, concerning how you go about getting into the Supreme Court. When you have a case that has been heard by a federal court and that case did not go the way that you think that it should have went, then you have to find something in the record that support the reason why you feel that case didn't go the way that it went. Maybe they didn't follow some type of federal rule of civil procedure or something, but whatever the case may be, the appeals process to the Supreme Court is going to be our focus of this video, okay? Now, I want to start by saying all constitutional rights invoke none waived for this video, as all the rest. You guys know the drill. You know how we do it. But yeah. So when you have a federal case that has went to federal court and that case has been decided against you, and you then appeal to the circuit court, and the circuit court agrees with the district court, which is the lower court, okay? Then you will next, your final appeal would be to the United States Supreme Court. Now, in order to have the United States Supreme Court to hear a case, you have to submit something called a writ of certiorari, okay? And basically what that is that is a introduction to the United States Supreme Court as to what is going on in your case and what questions of law do you have. Because many people don't realize that the United States Supreme Court is not a court that are examining finding of facts of case. Primarily, the United States Supreme Court is a law-making court. To make it real simple, it's a law-making court, meaning that that court is used to make new common laws, all right? Or that court is used to say if that constitutional amendment was violated or if that constitutional right was violated. You see what I mean? They're looking for people to bring cases to them that are unsettled on that matter as far as the law goes. So they are primarily taking cases that need to have a law settled in that matter. So a lot of times they will require something called a circuit court split. So that means that if the circuit court ruled against you, if they said, well, the lower court was right, we concur with the lower court, boom. If they said that, then generally what you would do when the Court of Appeals side with the lower court, you would then submit the writ of certiorari to the United States Supreme Court, and then you would ask the United States Supreme Court certain questions, and they will, so it has to be in a certain question form, all right? Now, those circuit court splits mean this. I kind of got a little bit off focus for a little bit, but here it goes. The circuit court split is looking for where, if, for example, you live in California, California is governed by the Ninth Circuit Court, all right? California, Arizona is governed by the Ninth Circuit Court in other states. So it's predominantly a circuit court that handles the decisions that came out of the federal district courts that are surrounding the, that district, which is California. Now, the circuit court split means that if you live in Ohio and I live in California, but the decision would have been different if the Sixth Circuit decided on the same matter that the Ninth Circuit decided for me, but they sided against me. But had I been in the Sixth Circuit would have sided with me. That's called a circuit court split. That's what the Supreme Court is predominantly looking for when they are looking to take cases. Now, that just because you have a 1% split, that does not mean that you're going to get that case, that they're going to take that case. That's not what that means. All right, let's understand that. Because the United States Supreme Court is only taking 1%. 1% of the cases that's coming in front of them, 1% of the writs of certioraris, 1% of those writs are being accepted. Only 1%. Only 1%. Now, I wanted to say all of that I just said in that 6 minutes to bring you to an understanding as to, how far our redress for our grievances can go. Now, if the circuit court is not doing the right thing, 99% of people's justice will stop there. Because like I told you, the United States Supreme Court is only taking 1% cases. All right? So you got a 99% chance that the United States is not going to take your case anyways on a writ of certiorari, whether you had a circuit split or not. So now that I got all of that out the way, now you can see crystal clear that if the circuit courts are not doing the right thing, then we have a huge problem. All right? Because you can't just run to the United States Supreme Court and say, okay, well, I don't like how they decided that. I'm going to tell y'all, and you let y'all deal with it, because they're not looking for cases that is based on based on the merits of the case. They're looking at cases predominantly where the law is unsettled so they can create a new law like they did Miranda versus Arizona. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be held against you in a court of law. That was created in the case of Miranda versus Arizona, which was a federal case that created that common law right and established it as a blanket right throughout all of the 50 states on everybody. So all law enforcement officials are required to use that to advise you. Now, this is going to be the most juiciest and very most important part of this video. So I need you guys to hang on with me. I'm about to go real fast through this. So if you guys need to take any notes, grab notebook, paper, because this is going to be very important right here. All right? Now, for example, okay? If you have a court case, and let's say it involved, some corrupt people, some corrupt officials, all right? Maybe some lawyers, maybe a few judges, maybe some law clerks, or maybe some clerks that work in a clerk office that was maybe tampering with records, etc., etc. So I want you to think of that scenario. Now, you take action against these people for doing what they're doing, all right? You're going to go to the courts because the courts is where you get the redress. There's no other way to reprimand these people for what they did. There's no other way to do it, all right? So you have to take them to court. So when you bring these people to court, they're going to have relationships in place. Maybe they know the senior judge. Maybe they know the clerk in the clerk's office. Maybe they have some connections. You go to take the redress against them, and they thwart. Your redress is thwarted in the courts. Okay, all right. So you say, all right, well, I'm gonna take it to the circuit court. You go to the circuit court, you send it up there. Everything, boom, boom, boom. Everything right, boom, 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 boom. Circuit court. they don't do the right thing. And they know, clearly know, that they are not doing the right thing, but they don't do it anyway because they feel like, oh, you're not gonna do nothing anyway. We just gonna do this because you ain't gonna do nothing. We ain't gonna do nothing, and then we not gonna let your appeal go through. We not gonna do, we gonna side with them anyway, so we not gonna do nothing, so whatever. So when you get people that have attitudes like that, those type of people, you have to fix their asses. You have to fix their ass, because you can't do what you want to do. You can't do what you want to do. Now, when you have that, when you are in that situation, now you have to turn the heat up. You got to turn the fire and the heat up a little bit. Now, let me tell you what you do in a situation where you know that the circuit court is not doing the right thing, okay? And you know the circuit court is not doing the right thing because maybe they have friends up there, or maybe someone called up there and defamed you, or maybe someone's getting a favor, if you will. Let's rock with that, because it seems to be a lot of that going on in the last few years, especially surrounding our situation. Whole lot of favors, but yeah, all of those people who did all of those favors, yeah, they're gonna be dealt with. Now, getting back on target. If the circuit court don't do the right thing, then in order to increase your chances of the United States Supreme Court taking your case, is you have to contact the Solicitor General of the Department of Justice. Okay? You're going to contact the Solicitor General. If your case is so nefarious, all right, and people is doing all of this illegal stuff, and they're not giving you the redress that the Constitution guarantees you, and they're fucking around, then what you do is you contact the Solicitor General with the DOJ, and you get the Solicitor General of the DOJ to submit an amicus curiae brief on your behalf. All right? You get places like Judicial Watch places, watchdog places. You also get them to submit an amicus curiae brief for you. The more amicus curiae briefs you have, the more chances you have of the United States Supreme Court accepting your case. All right? Okay? All right? But if you have an amicus curiae brief from the Solicitor General, there is a 90% chance that the United States Supreme Court is going to bring your case in there and accept the case on the writ of certiorari. All right. These are very important steps that people need to know, because you have a lot of people that are participating in creative corruption. And there's a lot of victims out there, a lot of people suffering, all right? So I feel like the Court of Appeals, the circuit courts are the most powerful courts in the nation. Now, the Supreme Court is the most powerful court in the nation, but after the Supreme Court, it's the circuit courts, all right? And in my opinion, everybody in every region of this country, they should have knowledge of the circuit courts, okay? Nobody should be graduating from high school without knowing what the fuck a circuit court is. Excuse my language, but I have to use that language so you can feel me. You see what I mean? So, nobody should be graduating high school without knowing what the circuit court is, and people are doing it. Now, if the circuit court is the court that has the most power to give you before the United States Supreme Court, then why don't we know about that court when we graduate from high school? Why is that not mandatory to know about that court? All right? These courts need to be regularly used by people that seeking redress, so it's not looked at like, oh, who do you think you are? Because see, when a person like myself go in there and say, okay, I want my First Amendment right to redress, you can't cite no laws against me to tell me that I ain't getting it. You see what I mean? You can't cite that because there's tiers, okay, of laws. There's tiers of laws. There is a order of operation to look at things in. So this is everything that they've gotten away from, all right? There's an order of operation and there's tiers of laws. You have supreme law and you have inferior law, and you have state law, you have federal law, then you have the Constitution. It's very simple. It's very simple. So, I mean, I'm not going to make this video that much longer. I just wanted to get in and talk about the process and point out the fact that it's the circuit court that is very powerful, that people need to be taken heed to and understand how this court operates, all right? This court needs to be in people's mind. They need to know what these circuit courts are, all right? I believe there's 13 of them. I believe there's 13 circuit courts like there are 13, it's 13. Never mind, it's 13 circuit courts, I believe. But, yeah, I'm not going to get into anything else in this video. I don't want to make it too long. But again, if you have an amicus curiae brief from the Solicitor General, you have a 90% chance that the United States Supreme Court will accept your writ of certiorari, all right? The more amicus curiae briefs you have from people that are not the Solicitor General, if you can't get one from the Solicitor General, then you get one from people who will be affected, who feel that situation will affect them. You see what I mean? Or that situation is important to them or pertinent to their business or existence. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be delighted to answer them below. Again, all constitutional rights invoked now and waived for this video. And that's all we're going to talk about. In the next couple weeks, we will have an update on the federal court case. We will be telling y'all what the update is on that. There has been some other things that have been updated on that, but we're not going to talk about it just yet because, we have something cooking. So we will be with you in a few weeks to discuss what has been happening in the federal case, because as we told you, we're going to keep you abreast on everything and highlight everything to you step by step. So hopefully this video was very beneficial to you, as we always try to give you beneficial content and we try to bring you things that you can use. I hate empty information, so I try to provide you guys with enough information, that you're not getting empty information that you can do nothing with, okay? So this information on Deception Stoppers channel is very beneficial, and I want to say all of my American patriots, hang tight, enjoy yourself through this hard time, and God bless.